Hey there. So, in the last video, we talked about Git and how we can use it to keep track of your projects. Now, what if I want to keep track of all my data? You see, when you remove all the technical fanciness, blockchain at its core is just another way to store data. Now, what separates it from your everyday traditional database is the way in which it stores your data. By definition, blockchain is a decentralized, distributed digital ledger technology. I know, too many words. But let's just break it down using a very simple analogy. So imagine this. You're in a classroom, and in this class, there's just this one kid, let's say the most nerdiest or the most dedicated student, however you want to put it, who writes down the notes for the entire class, for everyone. One kid, one notebook, all the information for the entire class. Now, what could possibly go wrong in this situation? Well, for starters, what if the kid takes a sick day? Or what if the kid loses the notebook? Or what if he just decides, you know what, I'm not sharing today? You see, in every one of those situations, the notes are gone. The rest of the class is essentially stuck without the notes. Why? Because the entire system, the entire note taking system depends on that one student doing the right thing every time. That's what we call a centralized system. One person in charge, one source of truth, and one giant point of failure. If something happens to that person, or in our case, the notebook, the whole thing falls apart. And yeah, that class test next week, try getting the notes for that. Now, imagine a normal classroom, one where every student has their own notebook and everyone writes down their own notes. No single note takers, no sole responsibility. So, in this situation, even if one student misses a class or loses their notebook, no big deal. Everybody else has a copy. They can compare notes, check with others, and keep things going. This time, the notes aren't in just one place. The same copy of the notes are distributed across all the notebooks in the entire classroom. And since no single person is controlling the whole note taking process, it is decentralized, which means no single point of failure, no gatekeeping, and no, I forgot to share it moments. It's a system built on shared responsibility. Everyone contributes, everyone holds a copy, and everyone can keep things running. Okay, so the first example, the one kid, one notebook setup, that's how a traditional database works. It's centralized, it's controlled, and yeah, I mean, it can be pretty efficient right up until something goes wrong. Now, the second example, the regular classroom where everyone's writing and everyone has a copy of their own notebook and no one controls the whole note taking process alone. That's the core idea behind a blockchain. It's decentralized, distributed, and way more resilient. In our classroom analogy, the information was actually spread out across everyone's physical notebook. Right? Now, imagine replacing the students in the classroom with computers and those notebooks with digital files or ledgers. And imagine these computers being scattered across the globe. That's the basic setup for a blockchain network. And just like how every student keeps their own copy of the notes in our classroom, every computer or node in a blockchain network keeps its own copy of the data. And just like a classroom, each node follows the same rules and runs the same logic. And they are constantly communicating to stay in sync and agree on the latest version of the data that goes into their ledger. So if one node goes offline or one copy gets corrupted, it doesn't matter. The rest of the network keeps working. The data is not lost. The system doesn't crash. There's no single point of failure, and there is no one person or machine that is in control. It's a system that everyone participates in and everyone's responsible for. That's the basic idea of a blockchain. It's a decentralized, distributed way to store data. Now, all this gives you the general principle of what a blockchain is and how it works. But there's actually a lot more to it. Like things like how these computers or nodes agree on what information to store, or what are these blocks, or how is the data secure. Don't worry, we'll break it all down in the upcoming videos, step by step, no jargons, no panic. So, see you in the next one.